Hey, fellow engineers, it's me, Mario. It's been a while. I know that I should make other videos, but I just had this awesome game that I happened to win, which made it even sweeter. But I actually plan to record a video about it right off the bat because I think it was a very interesting setup and I wanted to try out a weird plan. So we're gonna delve a bit deep into it. Be prepared. Hopefully, it's not gonna be a 2 hours video, but I might as well discuss for half an hour about a setup or so, and then I'll go through the whole game and see where that leads me to. Hopefully, with this new PC that I got myself, which is pretty good, I should be able to record a video without having the usual old problems. So let's discuss why this setup was pretty interesting and why my game ended up being pretty interesting. So first off, this is a game against strong players. They're all around the 500s or even higher than that uh, in Elo, I mean. So I knew that I could try out something a bit weirder. I'd suggest you not to try something like this when you're playing against not experienced player because less experienced players try to go too much for early production. And what I'm doing in this game particularly is that I'm gonna try to hit hard the early production bottom, knowing that nobody else is really interested because normally that's not what you really want to do in any given game. So first off, let's talk about the round bonuses or boni or whatever you want to call them. I'm gonna focus on the last three of them. It's pretty cool that you have contracts on the third round. This is always very tricky because this is where your early production capability that you can get thanks to neutral dems starts falling off. And this is where the other system of players that haven't been producing or haven't been producing much but focused on infrastructure are going to come online on the third round. And it's very hard to capitalize on it for both the two categories. If you don't have your own dams, it's pretty hard to get up to 18 energy. And if you got your own dams in good spots and you got them tall, probably you didn't fulfill many contracts. So this is a tricky one. And I was able actually to manage to exploit it pretty well. And also there are private buildings on the fourth round. So I would say that most expert players you're gonna talk with are gonna tell you that it's better to totally ignore the private buildings round bonus in most situations. And I'd agree with them. Normally it's way better to just focus on your infrastructure, the main one, just so you can unlock incomes and especially the 7 points income early enough and you secure position on the board and you're gonna set yourself up to get a good scoring on the final scoring tile. So private buildings do none of that, and normally they are pretty expensive. So it's pretty hard once again for players who focus the early game in building up a producing infrastructure to be able to exploit this one. But as we're gonna see, this became quite relevant for me, just because there were a lot of cheap private buildings out. So right off the bat, I wanted to do that. To be fair, I sank my elo in the past, and I'm still doing it to a certain extent, trying to go for off the bat strategies, and one of them tries to exploit this round bonus. Normally you fail at it, but finally in this game it did work out, so that's pretty good. And then there's the conduit round bonus as the last one, and pretty much always all players will try to get all the conduits out on the fifth round. But it's also good if you focused on production because you're gonna go for conduits anyway. So all in all, it made it so that the cookie cutter, let's call it, approach to the game that says that you should focus on bases and elevations is not as strong in this game just because of this 3 round bonus. Something that might help a bit is also that the first bonus is about tiles. So if you can secure a tile, normally Conduit 1, which is not in a game, or Powerhouse 1, which is in the game and is out on the first round, if you can produce and get to 6 energy, you're also gonna get 4 more points. Now, 4 more points are not much, but still, they they can be pretty important every now and then. This one is the only bonus that doesn't fit into a like early production plan, but it's all good. Then we're gonna take a quick look at the factions and operatives combos that are in the game. This is a very low-powered game. The best combination by far is France plus Jill. Jill is good. She's not top-notch, so she's not like Krylov or Bahiri or Leslie. But she's pretty good, and France is the best nation, so this is the best combo. Still, it's not incredibly good. It's just good. Then there's USA plus Fiesler. Now, I'm a big Fiesler lover. I think among the, let's call them expert players, I'm among the ones who really value Fiesler a lot. I don't think most players do. But for sure, everyone will say that it's a pretty bad pairing with USA, just because USA doesn't like to spam out powerhouses. The conduit line is by far the worst one for the USAs, and that's pretty much what Fiesler wants you to do. So most of the time when you go with Fiesler and USA, and honestly, most of the time you go for Fiesler too, you're just gonna use it sometimes in the early game, like once or maybe twice the power, and then you're just gonna forget about it, which is unfortunate. It can still pretty good if you can fulfill a strong contract like the level 3 conduit or stuff like that in the early game. But um, it's it's really not the best way to use Fiesler. It's just very hard to use Fiesler at its best with USA. Using Fiesler as its best means using it pretty much every round and going aggressively for production. Then there's Germany plus Fouché. So Germany is not really a versatile faction. Normally, it just wants to spam out bases early on. Sometimes it can work with a conduit rush. None of these two style of games were available here because there is no wildcard one tile out, not even the base one tile is out, and the conduit one tile is not in a game at all. So Germany has not at its best on this setup, and Fouché, as we're gonna see when we talk about private buildings, is normally an underwhelming operative that sometimes can shine a bit if there's like Robot Factory in the game. This game doesn't show Robot Factory, doesn't even have a loan agency, so it's just a bit sketchy to go for Fouché here. And then, of course, there's Netherlands plus Luciani, which is going to be the last pick ever, just because, again, the Netherlands, not really good, and Luciani, one of the two worst operative in Barrage. So there's that. Let's discuss briefly about other stuff. There's Elevation 1. So I think everybody went into this game knowing that the guy in the first position will get Netherlands and Elevation 1. The only question would be if they would take the external work or not, along with Elevation 1. Most of the time you do, but it's a bit tricky with Netherlands because they don't unlock mechs unless they go for conduits. But in this game, there's a 5th round conduit, so it might be a bit more justifiable to go for it and try to go aggressively for the machinery shop spots. Oh, actually, there's wildcard one in the game. Totally forgot about that. So yeah, Germany can spam bases. Actually, Germany is a bit better because of it, just because of it, I would say. And then there's Powerhouse 1. We also notice 3 great contracts out. There's Conduit 3, which is, my opinion, the best, among the best contracts you can get with Fiesler, and it's just generally very good on the first round. The free base is just good all around. If you can fulfill it by, let's say, round 3, you're golden. And then there's the 3 spins, which is very good early on for small productions for everyone. Also Fiesler, but for everyone. So I would say that I would take them in this order: Conduit 1, Conduit 3, then 3 spins, then the base, if I had to think about it. And then the other 2 external works are a free base, which is normally pretty good for France just because you can go for it plus another base and immediately get one of the gray mechs you've just spent back. And then there's this one, which is a bit unfortunate when it's with Powerhouse 1 because a lot of the time it means that 2 players are going to fight for the production, which is pretty bad. Um, so there's that. And the private buildings are pretty bad. Control Station is the only one that it's actually pretty decent, but it's a late game one. So even with Fouché, actually it can be decent with Fouché in the late game. but it's not something you're planning for too much. The good thing that I wanted to discuss briefly is that there are three very cheap private buildings out. They are the cheapest ones out there. They all cost 3 or 4 max in total, and they actually let you get back a tile or some max from the wheel, which is part of the reason I chose to go for a play private building route along with a round 4 scoring for private buildings, of course. So, all in all, I would say this is a very interesting setup. Again, a low powered setup. Let's see what I'm planning during the auction. Again, we see players betting. I'm the fourth player, so I haven't bet yet. Everybody is betting for the fourth spot just because there's friends. Let's say what I expect to happen. That is not what actually happened, but this is what I would expect to happen. I expect the first player to take Elevation 1, the second player to take one among these two, but probably this one because if I'm the third player, I would definitely take USA plus Fiesler. I think it's better than Fouché plus Germany, so I expect Fouché plus Germany to take this one. Then Fiesler is going to take either the contracts or the powerhouse. Both of them are justifiable. And then the fourth player will take the other auction, basically. Either because France works really well with Powerhouse 1 and can go for an early production, so I would take either the contracts or the Powerhouse. There's also this style contention, but I think it's a distant fifth thing players can do. Um, while we're at it, we can discuss about some other little stuff that came up in my direction. So, well, no, I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just finish the auction. I'm betting for third, and I think I bet a few points for third. Not sure if it was alright. I think a betting for first position was also justifiable here, just because there's elevation 1 plus the work. But it's not a game in which elevation 1 would work particularly well, which is why none of these strong players chose to even bet a point for it. Actually, the other high-rated player, tried to uh, contest me a bit on third, and the same did Thomas. Ivan. Oh, by the way, Ivan is a um, used to be a Magic Pro. I'm not sure if he's a Magic Pro anymore, but I chatted with him a bit about the game. After all, just because he used to write articles about Magic the Gathering strategy, and he also likes Barrage quite a lot, as you can see from his elo. So I had a good chat with him after the game. Then he switches to first, and I think I'm gonna be left with the third position. Okay, so Ivan for sure is gonna take Friends and the best contract. I'm gonna take Fiesler plus the spin contract, as I said. Um, then, okay, Germany, and then there's Netherlands, which came up last. Now, again, we're going to see, okay, it's external work plus elevation 1. This is all right. Then the second player is going to take wildcard 1, which totally makes sense because they're Germany, and I think that's by far the best opening for Germany. I debated a bit here, and I chose to still go for Powerhouse 1. I think the Powerhouse 1 is a very strong tile, and it goes well with the first round bonus. I also thought that there was a chance that somebody else would not get the contract at all if they really wanted to go for this one, or they could take the conduit 3 and the base, which is what ended up happening, and I'm perfectly fine with this one. To be fair, I would also be perfectly fine with the 5 credit contract, which is why I chose to go for Powerhouse 1. Why am I fine to go for the 5 credit one? We're gonna discuss about it in a bit. So I took Powerhouse 1. I think France is gonna take the 2 contracts, and I remember them being base and conduit. Yeah, it's pretty hard to resist the temptation to take the base contract, but leaving here the 3 spins definitely helped me a lot. So I'm not saying I think I had a good read on the overall game, and I think I played well. But of course, when you're playing in a high interaction game as Barrage, you also need your opponents to a bit not play against you, you know? And I think that here Ivan could have taken the 3 spins contract. Again, I would have been fine with the 5 coins one, but that would have been for sure worse. And I think I think in his position, I probably would have still taken the base contract. This is a very, very, very strong contract in general. Um, Especially since France is the only one in the position to actually take this one. Uh, Germany can go for a very tempting thing, which is to go for this external work and double base with wildcard one. I think they can pull it off. Three bases in the plains. Uh, it's just a bit risky on their part to do so. It it's all done to have five bases on round two. Of course, you're not gonna produce to use them for the round bonus, but still, five bases by round two is pretty strong. The thing is that their executive doesn't work in their direction. It's not like Adler. With Adler, this strategy works really well because you can place your dams thanks to wildcard one. You can place your high dam already in good positions, like in Basin 5 and let's say Basin 1 or Basin 3 in the upper spots. So the five bases that you're positioning out on round two can still be relevant for the whole game. But if you don't have Adler, it's very risky to do so. And I don't expect neither Netherlands or Germany to go for this one just because it's so expensive for them. I expect France to take it. Uh, Even though it's a bit costly for France too, because they have Jill, and Jill wants a lot of grays. At this point, I don't really expect any one of them to take this one, which is pretty good for me. Again, I want to be the only one who's gonna produce, and at this point, it seems very unlikely that one of them is gonna produce early, especially since Ivan took the base contract instead of the three spins one. So he's gonna build the base in a good spot. It's gonna be here. It's pretty much always here when you go for elevation one plus the external work. It's just a very good position for a base. That's gonna be relevant till the mid game at least. Germany is gonna also build. Oh, this is I think the first mistake that I'm seeing here. I truly think this is a big, big, big mistake. So this position, not only this position is one of the worst ones on the map, I'm actually very surprised to see something like this coming from a guy who's almost 500 elo, because this position is by far the worst one among the ones in the hills, and it's gonna prevent him from building double base. I don't know if he's planning to get this one, but still, if I would have gone for a base in the hills, I would have gone for base in 5 probably here. I know that there are some drops here, but still, this is pretty bad and it's not gonna unlock any income for him. So I think this is a first mistake, and I actually remember thinking, okay, this guy is out of the games already. Um, Barrage can be this unforgiving. Then I'm gonna actually get a contract because I don't want anybody else to snag it from me. Um, I'm again gonna say later why this contract would have been decent too. Now, France is gonna get the base from the external work. All good. It's probably gonna place it, yeah, there. Makes a lot of sense. So that he's now free to get a free spot or something else. He's actually going to be able to go in the hills, and that's probably what he's doing. It's pretty good to go in the hills right off the bat, especially if you can get another base in the plains through another means. When you're Jill, just because Jill makes it so easy to get high level conduit fast. The thing with Jill is that you really want to hammer the three spin spot just so that you can get a high level conduit and a, a powerhouse in time. And he already spent two of the grays, so he really needs these spins probably. Okay, so Netherlands is getting back some of his browns. It's okay. I still don't think that's always what you want to do, but it makes sense to do in that position. This is something that was incredibly surprising to me. Like, building this one round one is, in my opinion, is definitely a mistake. Even if you're planning to, like, hit hard, this one, this one is not going to do anything for you for at least two, if not three rounds in a row. This is not what you want from your structures, especially the early structure. On the first round, every structure matters. So I I I, I was sure this guy was out of the games, and I think he came out last because of it. I'm gonna go for a powerhouse here just because I want to make sure that I will be the one who's gonna be producing. Something I didn't discuss at the start, but it's good to delve a bit into it right now, is the position of the neutral dams. This is one of the worst position ever for Fiesler. In my opinion, it's the worst, but there's another one that might be as bad. Here, I mean, maybe not the worst because this one in the mountain is here. It could be worse if it was over here, but still, this is pretty bad. You don't have any level 1 conduit to use early on, and that's what you want to do with Fiesler most of the time. You have a level 2, but the level 2 is gonna get covered for sure just because this position is the best on the map early on when you want to go in the plains. And yeah, producing from this one doesn't give you a big advantage as Fiesler. You really want level 1 or level 2 conduits. So I'm getting cover. I'm not getting a level 1 conduit. So this is pretty bad. The other position that's bad for Fiesler is a neutral dam in 5 and another neutral dam in 9, just because 5 is going to give shade to the one in 9. So you might use the level 1 conduit, but that's it. They're pretty similar. They are both pretty bad. So I went into Fiesler knowing about it. But one thing that a lot of players don't consider, and rightly so, because it's very rarely relevant. I could make a whole video about how to use the third powerhouse of the USA. It's very rarely they're relevant, but this is a decent position for it because it makes it this position right here. If you are able to place a dam over here, which is something that I will be able to do, it means that you can get, you can produce from this one, get water here, and then get water down this direction over here. This one is normally not gonna get anything or much built anyway because it's getting shade from um, this dam, and the basin 5 is the best one in the hills, so somebody is bound to build over there. So you can actually get a few more drops down here thanks to that. And this positioning is not the best in the mountain by a big margin. All the other three are way better. So normally you don't get much shade there too. So you can expect to get some drops to fall off this way, and especially this way if you place one down here. But yeah, this is something very small actually. It's gonna be relevant in this game, but it's not always relevant, or very rarely relevant actually. So France is gonna build a level 1 conduit because they correctly recognize that they are gonna go for the other dam over here, and they want to save up um, some grays to go for a bigger conduit in the next round. So at most they will build a powerhouse here, which is something I'm actually betting a lot, but I waited a lot to make my plan clear just because there was a big risk to it, as we're gonna see. So the other guy is gonna build also a level 1 conduit. This is a pretty big sign to me that they are basically just gonna build again. So they're gonna use the 4th space for building, which cost 3 and 3 extra coins, and they're gonna go for elevation. So it's the only reason because of which they go for level 1 here. They got enough coins thanks to the external work, so this is kind of a cookie cutter start you can get with elevation 1 when you're playing Netherlands or Germany. I would say that with other ones it's a bit riskier because you're gonna get left without coins, but in this scenario it actually makes quite a bit of sense. So they did. Germany is going to build again. At this point I expect an elevation over here just to collect these 2 drops. Again, I don't think this is a good start at all, but your millage may vary. I'm gonna go for a conduit again immediately. I don't want to pay anyone for a conduit there. I think it's very unlikely, or maybe nobody could even build it. Yeah, nobody could. I just wanted to be sure that I was asserting that I was producing. Also, I wanted to get my max into the wheel because as we're gonna see, my next action is going to be to take the single spin. It's pretty important to get the single spin when you're going for the plan that I'm going for. I didn't expect anyone to take it from me, but I didn't see any reason to postpone my building either. So I chose to build to be able to get the single spin spot. I could also be alright with a 2 engineer spot, but it's way better, of course, if I get a 1. I don't expect anyone to go for it because Netherlands is gonna go for double build. And actually, maybe this guy could go for it. I don't remember what he does, but I really wanted to go to push the pedal to try to get a single spin. Uh, this is something that is extremely good for me. What is happening now? So France is placing 2 drops here. Basically, they are banking on being the first one to place a powerhouse here. And thanks to Jill, they want to place a level 4 conduit here to get a big production of 8. But they actually, I think, didn't see my sneaky plan, which we'll come to that in a bit, but it's gonna thwart France's plan. So this is very big for me, actually. It's a big drive that made me go for a very strong line. Okay, so Netherlands is going to build an elevation. Let's see what Germany does next, because honestly, a single spin would have made sense for them. So I don't know what they're doing instead. Yes, they are going for the single spin. So I actually have to go for the single spin with 2 engineers, which sucks. I tried to go fast to try to secure it, but yeah, it was a bit hard. So I'm gonna go for the 2 engineer one. Why am I doing that? Now we can talk about the plan. I'm gonna use this contract to get 3 spins, and then I'm gonna use powerhouse one again and the conduit tile again to get 2 conduits out on the first round. Now, this is a start that normally works pretty well with, for example, Italy or France, just because you're unlocking strong incomes, either a Mac or 3 coins, thanks to the conduit. It works not as well with USA because unlocking 3 points income is not as great. Of course, some income is better than no income, and it plays well into my overall plan. So basically, my overall plan is that, oh, come on, is that it's hard to score in the late game. In the second part of the game, it's going to be hard to score the round bonuses. So I'm trying to push the pedal hard in the early game and use even a measly income like the one granted by USA's second conduit to try to get a big gap of at least 30 points over my opponents when they start playing for the late game. And since the round bonus don't help them recover that gap, then I might be able to win. That was my plan, basically. So you can see also why these 5 coins could have worked. There's nobody else who can take the 3 spins other than France, but France is not going to take it right now. And also France is probably going to place a dam over here, spending 3 coins. So I could have produced for 5 coins and then went for the 3 spins and other stuff. Of course, that would have been considerably worse than straight up getting the 3 spins from the contract, but I would have still been able to go for my plan. So France is going to go for the base, I think? No, for the powerhouse down here. Now that France has gone for the powerhouse, I'm fairly sure I can go for the plan of placing my powerhouse here, a level 3 conduit here, and prepare for the big production thanks to the drops that France provided me from the neutral dam in 5. My other plan would have been to go for this one here in the level 3, which is considerably worse than this one, but since I'm being fed water, I might as well go for it. And yeah, I was expecting France to go for a powerhouse here. Again, I think he didn't see my sneaky plan at this point in the game. Right, the final elevation, yada yada. Let's see what Germany does next. A lot of spins. Yeah, this is very strong for Netherlands, actually. They can still go for a base next round if so they want. And they will, if I remember correctly. Germany is getting 1 because they are gonna get spins. This is the only way they can get a second base. Again, I think they misplayed pretty hard their early game. But it is what it is. Now, now I'm a bit undecided, I think. There's nobody contesting me the production. So I think that I like double counted here. That's why you see me restarting the the turn. I'm double checking if I can get this contract. So this contract is normally pretty bad. It comes online later on in the game, and it gives poultry amount of points, some coins, some mechs, but it's actually incredibly good if you can get it on round two, because it's going to be the same as other strong contracts, like the 3 points and 2 mechs for 6 energy, which is considered a pretty good contract early on, and you're gonna gain 2 coins out of it too. So I'm double checking because if I'm producing from here with two um, powerhouses, I'm gonna have a +3 on my production here, which means that with 6 drops, with 2 drops and the level 3 conduit, I'm gonna get 6 + 3, that's 9. I'm just double checking again if somebody can produce before me, but nobody can, so I think I'm gonna take a contract, exactly. Um, it's pretty good. I was also happy with the one that showed up. It's not like a free structure or anything. You're always a bit scared in the early game when free structure contracts are coming out, just because people might go for early production when they wouldn't otherwise. So there's that. I'm really playing an aggressive game here. Again, as we're gonna see, I'm not just producing on the first round. I'm also planning on producing fully from neutral dams on round 2 and 3 included. And I'm still gonna produce from neutral dams on round 4 and 5, which is definitely pretty uncommon. So I'm really going for an aggressive game with Fiesler, which is the kind of game that I like the most, but it's very hard for it to be strong enough to compete. And in this particular setup, it was. So they're going to go for the 2 spins. Again, Germany off to a pretty bad start. Now I'm going to produce, get 3 spins. Basically, all the other guys finish their engineer, so I'm going to play by myself here. I'm going to get the full 10 points round 1, which is always very nice when you're playing with Fiesler, just because with an easy production, you can get to the threshold, and if you can score the first round bonus, that's even better. Still, it's only 4 points, but 4 points plus 4 points plus 4 points, they add up, you know? So, yeah, France is just gonna get 1 coin. Now, there is a little problem here while I go through my moves. And the problem is that everyone will want spins on the next round, except for maybe Netherlands. Everyone else would probably try to go for spins. And that's a big problem because I really want to go for spins too. So I will have to get a bit creative on the next round, as we're gonna see when it comes to keep building. Because in this game, if there's one big rule you should take home from any of my barrage videos, is you never want to be uh, wheel locked. So you don't ever want to see yourself stuck with a wheel, nothing out, you can't build and you can't get anything back from your wheel in any possible way. That's a very bad thing that can happen to you in Barrage if you're not careful, and you should strive to prevent it in any possible way. So as we're seeing, I have already got a bit of a gap over my opponents, is about 15 points over them, I would say. So everything is going well, but it's from now on that the challenge begins. Let's just say that this first round was okay for Fiesler, but now we really had to do some stuff. So I'm pretty sure that France is gonna take the 3 spins here. Let's see. Yeah, they pretty much need it to. And they're in a convenient spot to do so. By the way, the texts that are out are totally useless to me, so I'm not taking a look at them, which is not bad because I knew that on round 2 I probably wouldn't have the time nor the coins to spare for a tile. So this is actually pretty good. I was, I think, decently lucky here to get that. Yeah. I'm a bit surprised that Germany took this single spin, actually. I think I would have gone for the base here, but maybe they would have been a bit stuck after that. Again, I'm not following much his game. I'm very surprised by him taking 2 spins, by the way. I thought he was just going for a base over here, but since elevation 1 was so far away to get back, he maybe needed to do so. So now it's up to me. I'm a bit stuck. I have to determine a plan. Luckily, there's this job, there's this work over here, which is why I was very happy that I was able to save a single gray here. I'm gonna need the spins. I don't think anybody else will take them, but I think I was scared enough that I got it first action. I might be wrong, but I think that I got it first action. But after that, I still need a plan. Like, I'm gonna move this stuff down, but I need a plan. This is why I went for private buildings here. So I know I'm gonna get 2 mechs here. So I could have gotten something like, let's say 2 browns, both a brown, and went for a base. But that doesn't use up my building capabilities at all, and I still need a lot of spins, and I have no way. I mean, there's always the plan of getting like 2 spins and 1 spin from these 2 spots. It's a very bad plan, but if you have to, you have to. It's better than not doing anything in a round. But if I have better ways, and I have, I should go for them. And what I think I'm planning right now is, if I remember correctly, getting 2 mechs, using the 2 mechs that I get from my contract to build, I don't even know how it's called because I use it so not much often, research lab, to build a research lab, get back half of my conduit max and go for a base so that I have at least 2 build action available to me, and one of them is actively working towards a round bonus. So I also thought that I might have produced a bit more, um, just to be able to get the 4 points. I don't think I was able to, but that was part of the reason I chose to go for a base. Also, I chose to go for the base because there is a free base spot in the plains that doesn't cost any coin. Yeah, I took the external work. I thought nobody would take it, but I was a bit surprised by Netherlands taking the 2 spins, and I didn't want anybody to play the sneaky game on me and just get that one from me. It would have been better to just produce, get the max, go for the research lab, go for the base, and then get the spins, of course. But it was too risky, I think, and I just wanted to get my spins. Again, I think that getting wheel blocked is the worst thing that can happen to you in any barrage game. So I really needed to not have that happen. And actually, what France is doing here, taking a single spin, makes it so that it feels like I made a correct decision. He might have gone for the external work instead. He might not have, because again, he values Grace pretty high, thanks to Jill, and he really wants to get this level 4 conduit online ASAP. But still, you never know. So, Germany is taking a contract. I wonder which contract is that. It's a very bad contract. Yeah, Germany is playing in a weird way. They will probably want to produce from this one at this point. They will go for a level 3 conduit um, and a powerhouse down here. The thing is, you don't really want to use a level 3 conduit from a hills dam, in my opinion, most of the time, just because elevating it is so difficult. So, okay, as you can see, Netherlands are going hard on brown mechs. I'm going for the mechs right now. There's nobody threatening the production. There's nobody that can sneakingly take off the drops for me. I always double check if anybody's got the powerhouse 2 tile, just because that's the worst thing that can happen to you, somebody stealing the water when you're going for a very aggressive game. But now I can take my time to produce, at least for some time, like until now. On the next turn, I have to produce. Otherwise, France is gonna take um, reap the rewards of their action, while I want to steal it from them. So yeah, he's gonna go for the level 3 conduit and then for the powerhouse. Well, at this point, I'm producing. I think he's gonna go for another base to elevate it. I'm not sure if I was in his shoes. I'm not sure I would have gone for another base in the plains, especially in a higher spot, I think I would have gone for this spot if I had to. It's highly unlikely that he's gonna use both of his dams in the plains to produce, so I think I would have liked the cheaper spot more. But I think even more than that, I would have liked elevating it over here. Even though it's pretty hard for the Netherlands to go for a level 5 conduit early on. So probably he's just planning to build 4 elevations early on and the 5th one soon after, just to get the 2 immediate drops reward, which is pretty good, and produce from like this one, which is already pretty good. He's gonna put the drops over there. This is actually big for me. Him placing the drops over here. As we're gonna see, I am able to go for a 3rd powerhouse relatively early here. I don't remember if this round or the next one, but him feeding this one and nobody building tall dams over here means that I'm gonna get a lot of free energy shifts from my powerhouse there, which is pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna produce all 9. I'm gonna get 1 and 1. That is it. Right, my plan going on. He's fulfilling a work just to gain coins, if I remember correctly, and just because this contract is basically free to fulfill. So this is a common move for the guy who starts in the 4th position to get that external work, just because it's very easy. Also, Jill wants a lot of grays again, so that was definitely a good move on his part. Don't think anybody else was contesting it, but maybe it was still good to get it there. He's gonna build the powerhouse in basing 12. He's building an elevation again, I guess. No, it's a powerhouse. So that's a powerhouse he's preparing to produce on the next round. Once again, this plan can work pretty well in a lot of games. In this game, it's not gonna be awesome, just because producing the next round, it's not gonna net him much point, if any, uh, thanks to that. So I'm gonna go for the private building, as I told you. France is going to get a contract, which is a 7-point contract. I don't know if I like this move. Once again, he's leaving here this contract, which is very good for me. Any contract that that has an economical value and requires less than, let's say, 7 energy on round 2 or 6 energy on round 1 is pretty strong for Fiesler. Still, I had this one, which would have been pretty strong too, but getting this one is for sure gonna be better for me. And if I remember correctly, yes, another one showed up. So I'm gonna snag up both of them. They're very good for me in my position, and now I can actually start with a bit more strategy to my game. I know that I'm gonna get a lot of mechs, so I actually have a plan for the late-ish game. I can either build all the private buildings round 4, thanks to a development office getting me back a tile. Maybe I can even get the private building 2 tile. Normally that's not a good plan, but it might work in this case. And I can then dump all of my extra mechs, other than the ones that are required to build 5 conduits, on external works to make up for the points I cannot get from income from structures. So that is my plan right now. These 2 contracts made my plan. I should stop a bit again and say that in the plan that I'm going for in this game, you still have to like have a big long-term strategy of some kind, but it needs to be way looser than the one that you normally have. Like when you go for heavy building stuff, you normally have, I wouldn't say set in stone, but some kind of building order in mind. You want to go for, let's say, 5 bases early and then go for the conduits, or going for a 2 and 2 or stuff like that. So you need to have things pretty much set up. While when you're doing an aggressive game with Fiesler like I'm doing, you really need to adapt to what the other guys are doing on the board, depending if they are gonna go for spots above neutral dams and how fast they are going for that. And you have to adapt to the contracts you are getting. So now I actually have like a decent long-term plan. As we see, that's gonna change too, at least to a certain extent. I think Germany is going to produce twice here, which is a bit unfortunate for me. Um, because he's gonna steal the 6 points for the first guy on the energy track, which is a bit unfortunate. Also because I think that here Germany is uh, in the last spot by a considerable margin. He's gonna build the elevation here, have his wheel drop, not drop, spin, get back the max. He might even go for four buildings again if he wants to. He can go for the conduit right now. Not sure he does because he does have a very bad contract right now, and he wants to be prepared to produce early on next round because otherwise France is gonna go the best spots for production. But we'll see. Now I'm gonna go for the two contracts again. This is pretty cool for me. I can still build the base. Now I have a free guy that doesn't do anything. It might just get a coin. I think I was debating at the end of the round if I wanted to get a mech or a coin, and I went for the coin just again to be more versatile. But these two contracts were a big boon to me, and I think this was a mistake from France. I know why he went for this one. Now he's gonna go. He needs big contracts to like um, take big production and not how do you say condense production in a single action. So he would like to get big contracts instead of small ones, and he's getting the economy from the income other than from other sources. But I think that taking this contract from me would have been pretty good for him too. He would have taken this one for sure, I think, if it was available, just because Gilles can make a good use of Grace. But so now he's gonna go for another base. Okay, so he's rushing bases here. I think this is reasonable, just because he's got the contract for a free base that he can fulfill next round. He doesn't need to do that now. He's not gonna get many points out of this one, even if he could fulfill it. Oh no, actually, yeah, it's not worth it from him to try to get this base down in any way. And he doesn't want the level 3 conduit either because he already has the um, income out. So I like going for a base, and this one is going both a bit against Netherlands and a bit against me because of my powerhouse power. So I actually like this move on his part. He's setting up for something decent on the next round. He also couldn't produce anyway. He couldn't elevate anyway, so that's actually relevant. This is pretty big actually for him, not being able to elevate. I think this is where he loses the game, maybe. But I don't see him able to go for... Maybe he should have gone for an elevation instead of for the conduit. I don't know. He forces my hand on an early production, though, so that definitely had value, too. Oh my. He's taking a contract for 3 coins. Normally you do that only for crazy contracts. I mean, these two are both good, I'd argue. So that's why he's going for them. Still, I suggest to not do that early on. No, I think it's possible to justify it. That contract is good early on. So he's gonna go for 4 build once again. So normally this is a kind of game that works very well with Elevation 1 in most games. I just don't think that this game has enough late game points for it to be worth it. I don't know what he could have done differently, honestly. Starting with Elevation 1 was a given. But this kind of plan doesn't work as well in a game like this one. So I'm gonna get max out of my wheel, as I said. I'm gonna get 3 for a base. I'm lucky enough that the other players left. Oh, actually, I needed the guy. I was not undecided if I wanted to get a mech or a coin because I didn't have the spare engineer. I was also lucky that this spot is still available. Again, both these spots are very bad when somebody's building in 5 and there's the neutral land there. But still, I expected somebody to go. Actually, Germany should have gone for this space, I think, early on, but it's okay. I think he's gonna produce again. Yes. This is a bit unfortunate again. He's stealing points from me, and I'm really banking on those early points to build up a big gap against my opponents. but it is what it is. Now, on the next round, I'm already thinking about the two big works that are gonna come out, probably. The level 4 contract, the level 4 conduit, and the double elevation one. I don't think I could make a good use of the double elevation, but I could make a decent use out of the level 4 conduit, just linking it to a neutral dam. I can go in this game for a lot of small production, because another cool thing when you go for this plan with Fiesler is that a lot of the neutral dam with single drops are not interesting to other players in the late game. They really want to go for big production. So if you can spam out all of your powerhouses, you can still get good value out of this little production while nobody else can. So you can go a long way even without building a base. A base in a good position, I mean. And getting the level 4 conduit means that I could go for 5 conduits in round 4, which is pretty decent thanks to the 7 points income. Right, he's also gonna get drop. Uh, if you don't plan to use a drop immediately, I would suggest normally to still go for the 2 drops. You're probably gonna annoy your opponent more than just getting the single drop, so I think this one was still a mistake. You should have put something like 1 drop here, and that was it. Nobody else is really like building a dam over here, so. Oh, but nobody else had engineers, so it doesn't make any difference actually. All right, so I didn't get the 6 points. Germany is going to get a bit of points here, like 10 points. I'm still like getting the 2 points, and I'm not getting the negative points, which is decent. It's not the best. I knew that the second round was like very hard for the strategy I'm going for to score well. But again, I'm banking a bit on this round 3, where now everyone else can produce, but they cannot produce for much. And something that I'm starting to notice in this round is that nobody seemed to be properly set up for fulfilling national contracts. So I can actually, if I can get a big dam, maybe thanks to the double elevation, I can actually contest the national contracts, which is not something you normally do when you go for an aggressive strategy with Fiesler. This is something that you have to notice and pivot towards when you see that happening. So you always need to be available to see who can fulfill national contracts soon rather than later. And in this position, maybe France can do it, but not soon. So I might be able to actually contest them on round 4, which again is not common. A lot of head streams. He's going for, this is a very uncommon first action, but I think he really wants to go for, oh, with 2? Yes, he really wants to go for an elevation over here. Maybe now he can try to contest bigger stuff. He's gonna go for the 5th base on this round, I think, based on what he's doing. With Jill, it's also way easier to go for 5 bases and still be able to produce thanks to building conduits with grays. So people are starting to get contracts. It's about time. This one is one of the best that are available here. He might have gone already for the big points, but probably he needs max still to go for a base in a better basin. So now I'm really undecided, if I remember correctly. What should I do? So I could either get max to go for both a powerhouse and a conduit. But the cool thing is that I don't need max other than by producing. And production will give me a lot of points thanks to contracts fulfilled. So at the points I'm stopping, I noticed that I was actually expecting Netherlands to produce from this one, but since they chose to go for 4 structures again last round, they didn't have a decent contract to fulfill. So now I'm really counting, and I think that I can get 2 productions in some way, because if I produce with just 1 drop from here, I still think I could get a second one later on, because it's very hard for the Netherlands to justify going for a single drop production when he's got 3 over here and he's got ground to recover. It's also possible that France doesn't want to produce here because he's waiting to get a bigger production to go for the base. So I might even still get this drop. So at this point, I actually stop debating and I fully embrace my mission as Fiesler and I'm going for production. So I'm producing. I think I'm using a single drop from here. Yes, that's what I'm doing. And I'm fulfilling the 2 grays just so that I can go for a fast elevation. The plan is still to produce Ace up, probably, to get the max for another conduit. So now I'm still trying to see if anybody wants to take these 2 works. And I think I'm relatively safe. Um, France really wants to use them for elevation and for powerhouses slash conduits, so I don't think he's gonna spend them on this work. And Netherlands actually has elevation one, so he doesn't really want to go for this one. And going for this one is hard to justify because he doesn't get many mechs as income, even though he got a contract for a mechs, so maybe he's gonna go for it. And Germany is just too far now. If he tries to get one of these two, he's gonna bury himself in a deep, deep hole. He's going to get another underwhelming contract, unfortunately. So he's going for this one. All right, so I'm able to go for another production. And I think I went for a production from here, if I remember correctly. Let's see. All right, it makes sense. Um, Netherlands correctly understood that they are not gonna score for this one. They just wanna get, they're gonna get heaps of drops anyway, and they just wanna get the cheapest production possible to get the max back. So that's what they're going for, which is actually pretty good for me because it means that I'm gonna get enough energy to try to score contracts really well here. I thought he was taking the +1 spot, but I'm able to get it. It wouldn't have been a problem if I had to produce from the 0 spot because I still had 4 of Fiesler +1, but I like getting even a single energy more just because it's gonna help me so much. Now I'm also really thinking hard where I'm placing my next powerhouse. And this is when a plan is forming in my mind, I think. Here, I thought that instead of going for a conduit right now, oh no, I'm gonna go for a conduit, but I'm also trying to go for a base over here, I think. I'm gonna go for a powerhouse here, try to set up for a conduit over there, thanks to the extra max that I'm getting. So that I will get the extra shifts from the drops that are gonna fall down, which is not relevant. And I'm gonna get another production spot for the late game. So I think that's what I'm gonna go for. He's going to produce. It's a bit late for that, but he didn't have a decent contract to go for it earlier on. Again, Germany is pretty much a non-factor, other than like um, going against my plans, pretty much. So now he has to go for the expensive spot to go for the base. I still think it's a good idea for him in his position to go for it. It's debatable though, because he also needs to get drops down here. And it's not going to be easy here. It's the only line that lets him have enough points here. He committed a lot to bases, and he really needs to get 5 out this round because he's not gonna score from this round nor for the next one. So he really needs points from structures. So it's the only line that it's left to him. He could have. Oh no, he didn't have coins, so I'm lucky. If he had coins, placing a base over here would have been better for him, I think. Um, it's both a way to get a good self-feeding system, but it's also a way to like hamper anything that can go on down here. It's gonna be very relevant for me. Again, when you're going with the playstyle that I'm going for, you really need to react to the board a lot. So he went for a powerhouse here. I'm a bit skeptical of this positioning. I think he's planning to go over there. There's the level 2 conduit tide here, which would be very, very strong. for the Netherlands, but he's postponing it. I don't know why. It would have been pretty good for him. So I'm not sure I would have placed a powerhouse over there. Not sure I like this line. I know that he's gonna spin everything out, but still, that's an expensive spot that it's not guaranteed he can use later on. I don't know. Now I'm very undecided. I think I spent like 5 minutes watching for this move because it was so aggressive to go for a powerhouse over here. It really means putting all your eggs into one basket, pretty much. But I chose to go for it. Now I have multiple ways to build a conduit. I could either get myself the level 2 conduit tile to build a conduit over here. The level 2 conduit tile is also good because there's, again, conduit as the last bonus. But I can also go for the 3 spins that nobody is looking at, and nobody has the coin to compete against me with that. And anyone who does has, I think, different plans, hopefully. Yeah, he's gonna build something else. The elevation there makes sense. And now I can go for 3 spins, I think. What did you do? France did a single spin. All right, he really wants to get either another conduit out to start competing for the last one, or going for another powerhouse, because that's what will make him compete on the national contracts at this point. I think he's gonna go for a conduit, but I might be wrong. He's building the elevation, getting the drops, and luckily I have 3 powerhouses now. So he's gonna put the drops down here, I think, and I'm gonna get other energy shifts for free, which are gonna be very, very relevant because they're gonna take me over the 18 threshold here for sure, unless something crazy happens. So now, again, my plan is, I have many plans. I could get the 3 spins. I could get this style. I'm trying to set up for the level 4 conduit here, but I'm pretty flexible if I take the spins, and I can take the 2 elevation one. So I like my position a lot here. I chose to go for the 3 spins. It's kind of the safest route at this point. So I like it. I can both go for a level 3 conduit and a base down here, which would be ideal. That would give me a spin income, which is not relevant, even though it's a bit late. But a base down here opens the possibility of getting this work. I still prefer to get this one because rushing conduits will give me more points overall, I think. But it's a base here at this point will let me compete on national contracts, which is very strong because, again, nobody else seems to be in the position to compete for national contracts. More drops over there, it's okay. He starts getting some drops. He would have liked to get 2 drops more, but for some reason Germany stole it from him. He went for an external work for the level 4 conduit. I was very surprised by his choice here. He's gonna go, I think, for an inconsequential one over here. I mean, it's still consequential for the end of round scoring tile. Even though when you're going for a lot of elevation, it's kind of hard to compete well with this one. Because you're gonna get your structure more concentrated in some area instead of like spread it all around. I'm very surprised by him. Probably he just saw the chance of getting to 4 conduits and went for it, just because 4 conduits means getting the max income, which is good. The thing is, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It was a bit of a bummer for me, but now I'm sure that I can get my double elevation over there, which is pretty good. So I go for a level 3 conduit there. Now everything is going smoothly. I have a lot of spots where I can produce for free because I think this kind of strategy also works a bit better both with Fiesler and with USA because there's Netherlands in the game. Netherlands is going to flood the board with water, which means that the powerhouse power becomes a tiny bit more relevant, and also some drops are probably gonna spill into the neutral dams, and that's gonna help me because, again, nobody will plan to use neutral dams right now. They're too weak, but they're good for me because I'm Fiesler, so there's that. He's gonna go for a base. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's fine, I guess. Maybe this one would have been better, but this one is already in position for his powerhouse, and it's not stopping drops for now, or not too many drops. France is gonna go for the conduit, I think. Let's see. Oh no, for an elevation. Um, this is okay. I think at this point the bottleneck for France is water. So he wants to get a drop over here just so that he can then transfer it down here. But I'm not sure it's much of a bottleneck since he's got this tile. So I'm not sure about this one. I think I would have gone for either a conduit um or a powerhouse here. I'm not focusing too much on my opponent's games though, otherwise this video would be like twice as long. So he got himself the level 2 conduit tile, which makes sense. Now he can actually contest the spot better, because he can use the level 5 conduit to produce from it. Still, he's pretty far away, so I think I'm gonna get the first national contract out of everyone, thanks to the double elevation tile. Uh, this is again me adapting to the board, which is required when you go for this like play style. Uh, I would have actually been happy with the level 4 conduit too again. But since nobody's contesting um, national contracts, it means that I can actually reap the rewards of a double elevation, while I wasn't sure I could do that otherwise. So France is gonna go for the 5th base. Makes sense. They have to go for that one because they don't have any more coins. It's unfortunate for them. Um, they didn't really want it over there. It's actually hampering them, but oh, I think I think they should have gone for a base down here, for sure. Okay, so I think this one was a mistake. I think this one was a mistake. They don't have any structure in this basing, so they should have gone for a base down here. There might be some rationale that maybe at some point they can produce from the level 5 conduit over there, since Francis Gill. Still, I don't really love this position here. I think it would have been better down here or down here. Both would make sense. Would make more sense, at least. So now he's going for a little conduit. Makes sense, so that on the next round, he's gonna go for the bigger conduit maybe, or maybe for a base in a higher spot. One of the two. So now he got himself up to 4 conduits, which is pretty good. It means that on the next round he can get maybe both the conduit and the last elevation and the base. That's probably what he's gonna do. Again, this works pretty well most of the time, like getting a lot of points later on, but not in this game. So I'm gonna go for the double elevation here. 1 and 2. I'm gonna get a gray because I still want to go for the 4th powerhouse. When you're going for Fiesler, the 4th powerhouse is very strong regardless. And when you have like powerhouse 1 tile, that's very strong. Uh, period. He got the this was another line that I didn't talk about. There was also the level 2 private building tile, and I actually fiddled with it in my mind for a bit. I could have gotten it, but I don't think it was that worth it here. If I got it, I would want to go for all 5 of the private buildings, and I'm not saving actually that much. I'm saving a bit on energy relay field, but I'm not saving up that many um, max by going for it. So I actually settled myself to go for development office plus cofferdam. If I'm lucky, I can get the level 3 private building tile on the next round to be able to use it twice and score 6 extra points. But it's still a plan that I can deploy even without anything. I think I got a coin here, yes. So as we see, I'm gonna get enough shifts that I get the full points out of the round bonus, which is incredibly good. Whoa, this is running pretty long. I knew that it would be, but yeah, we're over an hour now. So hopefully somebody is still with me right now. Maybe you're like listening to it in 2 installments or something. But yeah. Now I finally have some decent income on top of the points, and I am 55 points, which is about 30 or 40 above my other opponents. 40 against the two other strong opponents that are in contention right now. Once again, Germany is not really. Um, which is a strong position to be in, I think. Or at least I did like my spot. Right now, again, I'm planning to get a little production from down here. I think I can make a good use of the spin here. I could go for powerhouse, then produce for a single spin, and then produce for a national. I don't need to rush for a production. Everybody else is going to go for a production. I don't really need to rush for it, since I don't expect all the spots to be taken, and it's way more important to get the +2 to all of my productions. So I'm pretty sure that's what I'm gonna go for. Alrighty. He's gonna go for surprise, surprise. Wildcard 3 is one of the best tiles. If I got it, I would have been very happy even if I had only one tile, just because when there's the development office in the game with the wildcard 3 tile, that's pretty good. But he got it, and actually, if I remember correctly, he's gonna score like half of his endgame points thanks to this tile alone. So that's something. He's gonna gain 2 contracts, so now he will be able to produce. Because otherwise he wouldn't have been able to. See which contract showed up. None of them makes any sense to me. France is keeping on with his strategy of scoring in ways that are not related to round bonuses, because again, I think he's pretty much out of it for this round. He can get 2 private buildings, but that's not worth it for him. It's way better to just try to use this tile like 3 times or so. As I said, Yes, I'm gonna go for the final powerhouse. I was debating a bit and I placed it down here just because I'm gonna probably use the power. So nobody built here other than me. This one has already one drop over here. I don't plan to build any other base nor elevation here. They don't do anything for me. It's way better to build private buildings for points, finish off the conduits and spend my max on external works. It's not worth it to keep going for bases or elevation. So here, every time that I produce from this spot, I'm gonna get points from not points, energy shifts from this powerhouse here, and it's another basin for the end game. So I was debating a bit if I wanted to place it in another spot where it would have counted, but I think that spot was just the best. In an emergency case, I can still produce from the level 1 conduit, even though it's very unlikely to happen with me having a conduit linked to all the neutral dams, and my opponent are very unlikely to use the neutral dams. He's using spins. I'm not needing spins at this point. All right, he's going to produce. Doesn't really matter too much to me. Once again, I went for the other powerhouse, so I'm fine even producing for 0. That would be 12 plus 3, that's 15. That's already good to fulfill any national contract. I would be actually happy to produce for -2. Let's see if I can do that. France finally takes another contract. Not sure about it. He's got the max for it. He's he's just thought that, yeah, he would never go for 3 of these, so he just wants to produce for this one and then use this one 2 times for an extra 6 points. Still, I'm not sure I would have gone for that. I'm taking a single spin here. The reason is that I can produce from here, get a single spin, and then build the level 4 conduit. Otherwise, I cannot produce for a national contract. So that was a good spot to be in. He's going for, I don't know, another powerhouse, I guess. So good. He's gonna go for the base over here, I think. Yes. Well, I'm still skeptical this was his best plan, but maybe it was his best bet to produce 5 energy. To produce for big. Probably was. I don't know. Not sure about it. He could have gone even down here. It's unlikely France is gonna produce too much from this one, and he's going to get the drops anyway because he's Netherlands. So maybe this one was just a better spot, and placing a powerhouse on the last round here where it was still free was better. I don't know. I didn't like too much this sequence from him. So he's going to go for the extra powerhouse, which he's gonna place over there. Okay. So now I'm producing, and I'm choosing to go for the -2 production immediately since it's enough to let me fulfill this contract, and I am guaranteed to use it instead of waiting to use it for a national contract later on. So that was easy. Go easy on me. So now I'm of course planning to get this contract. And thanks to the extra mech, I'm gonna go, as I said, for the development office plus, where is it? The other cheap one, plus cofferdam. I'm gonna go for both of them. Retrieving the tile. It's a bit unfortunate that the level 3 tile for private building didn't show up, but it's okay. I think I got plenty of luck during the rest of my game. Remember that to win a game of Barrage, I think there's always some luck needed. You need to maneuver well, you need to play well, you need to understand well and read well into your opponents, but you also need luck. That's my take on pretty much every game. Uh, Even in games with perfect information like Terra Mystica, sometimes you get lucky because an opponent does a move that favors you without seeing all the possible downfall consequences of it, downstream consequences of it. He's gonna go for oh, for another powerhouse. This is good. This is good, I think. He actually want to get the spin, and then also go for the level 4 conduit there. The third powerhouse will let him contest national contracts if he can put the level 4 conduit over there. So now I'm building my level 4 conduit, and I know that there's nobody that can contest my claim on the stronger national contract at this point, which is the 4 max one. I'm very happy that I was able to get a national contract going for a Fiesler plan. It's very uncommon to be able to do so. It's building a structure. This is interesting. Now, why is it interesting? He's building control station, which doesn't look like it's much. It's good. You get an uncontested space for a +3 production, which is actually pretty relevant often enough in the last round of the game. But it's very relevant here because thanks to a level 5 conduit, now with a +3 production, he can get to 14 energy. So he gets 2 drops here. He gets 10 energy plus 1 for the second powerhouse. That's 11 plus 3, that's 14. So it's the only way he can contest a national contract on the next round because he finished all the elevation. It's the only way he can contest it, so I think that was a good move on his part, and maybe he's gonna get some points thanks to production. Maybe it's unlikely, but maybe it can happen. We'll see. He's going to produce for the spin here, I think. And for the points, of course. So he's getting the spin, right? Yeah. So he's gonna go for the level 4 conduit. The thing is, to go for the level 4 conduit, he has only one space for production available, which I'm gonna take. Actually, he could go for this one. I am gonna go for that one, yes. So I'm fulfilling this one. Again, I'm gonna get the max. I need the max to fulfill, to go for the 2 buildings. So I think I went for 3 and 1. Yes, I needed enough browns to be able to build both the development office, which is 1, and the cofferdam, which is 2. It doesn't make sense to build any other one. Like using more mechs to try to build the energy relay field is, I think, pretty bad. You gain 1 more point total. And on the next round, you have less mechs available for the external works. And on my next round, actually, external works are my main way to score points. Again, I don't get points for any other structure. I have one last conduit to pull out. So I really need external works. It's unlikely that I will get a second national contract. It can happen, but now that Netherlands went for the control station, it's very unlikely that I will get another. He went for 13, which is again unlikely for him, unlucky for him, because I just took the 13 energy contract, which is lucky for me. Um, so he's gonna go for the conduit here, I think. Let's see. Oh no, he's gonna go for an elevation down here. Yeah, that's probably a better way to contest. To both try to go for all the elevations, even though I'm not sure yet. Without a conduit, he was guaranteed to have 2 other drops. And with -2, that would be 8, +1, 9, -2, 7. No, he couldn't contest the national contract. So actually, probably his line was better. This way he can get the national contract, and he probably really needs to score decently. I'm gonna go for drops here. I was pretty happy nobody was contesting them. I actually took a look at the board and I saw that, of course, Netherlands would never go for them and France would not go for them at this point. But I was actually a bit scared about Germany trying to go for drops, so I'm very happy that I get 2. I kinda need these 2 to be able to produce for enough next round in a convenient way. I could get a lot of small production, but once again, even though they are better for Fiesler than for the other guys, small production on the 5th round are still sketchy, so there's that. Of course, Germany is all intent to score a lot thanks to wildcard 3, which is what they should do at this point. It's their only plan to go for decent stuff. Here, France is surprising me. They went for more grays, which probably is good. I mean, he doesn't need any more bases, and everything else other than private buildings can be built with just grays. So probably that's good. And he's still guaranteed, kinda. He's guaranteed to get at least one of these 2. Netherlands gonna get 1, and they're gonna get the other one. So it doesn't make sense to produce much here because he's not gonna score anything from this round bonus, while he should be able to score something from the next one. So he made the correct call here. Getting that work was way better for him than the alternatives. Here I'm just, as I said, playing the two other private buildings so that I can score. Yes, I got back the tile. Then I'm gonna build the other one so that I can score. I get enough energy from falling drops here that I will be able to both pass Netherlands and score well for the round bonus. This is one of the very few games in which the third powerhouse of USA was actually worth it. Normally it's very forgettable. Here I think it netted me something like 15 points total or something like that, which is definitely very strong. And definitely very unlikely. Again, there was no incentive to go for a lot of tall dams in this setup. So that's part of the reason I was able to get like this whole stream pretty much empty. And also Germany going for a very questionable line had me a lot here. So again, lucky. So now I'm looking at the external works. As I told you, they are my best bet at getting points. The first one I'm looking at is this one, 5 grays. Because with one more drop, I can contest the national contract. But actually, the other guys can get it from my nose anytime. Both France and Netherlands. So I don't have to rush for it. So thinking about it a bit more, I'm gonna get this one first because with 6 max, it's gonna get me back 6 max. So it's basically free as max go. I don't need to get any other spin to get the max out. So it's basically free and it's gonna net me 8 points, which is a lot. And then I'm planning one of these 2, any of them would be alright. And I don't think the other players are so focused as I am on them because they still need to finish out their conduits and they have other incentives to build like Powerhouse 3 and Wildcard 3. So they will probably be intent into building and they don't need external work as much as I do. which means that I can go aggressively for them without too much fear. Still, getting one extra drop here would be good to force either Netherlands or France into producing. Let's see. Also, if somebody builds a control station, that would also put pressure, some pressure, on Netherlands. Yeah, he's gonna go for the easy production for the national contract. He's gonna go for this one, I think. He doesn't need more coins really, but he desperately needs more points. Yeah, he didn't go for oh, he has to go for the conduit actually. But it's still one move ahead of me. Like, I need one move to get the drops and then he can produce. So he needed to go for that first move. And now, as I said, I'm just gonna get the spins. I figured I couldn't, like, outrun Netherlands unless Andra Netherlands is sleeping. And I have no reason to think he's sleeping because he was like 600 elo before this game. So I had no reason to think about he was not doing the best action possible. He's gonna go for the control station, which is good for me. Uh, even just taking the only contract that's kind of good at scoring. No, this one is also good. Might be that this one was actually better for Ivan. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. He's friends. He's got the third powerhouse out. Oh, he's gonna go for the other contract. Yeah. So I'm left with no contract here, pretty much. Like, there's this one, which is decent. Not amazing, but decent. I think I end up taking it. Uh, but as we're going to see, sometimes when you know you're gonna score a lot from the round bonus and you're more scared to lose production chances than anything else, you might actually produce even without a contract on the last round, I think. Earlier on, I think it's very hard to go for it. I chose to go for the 10 points, one drop, just because 10 points are way more than 6. I didn't need the second drop. And on top of that, I didn't really need any gray. My plan is just to go for the last conduit and some production, and that's it. Ideally, I would like to place my conduit over here, just because, but I can place it pretty much anywhere else here. I have 9 max, which is part of the reason I went for the 5 grays instead of the 3 browns and 2 grays. So I can place any contract in one of the missing basins. I really want to go for 7 structure for the end of game bonus. The other guys are probably gonna get up to 7, but if I can secure this one, and as we see, I'm able to, I can also put a base in this spot, which is another basin in which I didn't have presence. So that's good. Okay, I pretty much described my whole last round, so there's not much to say. Now, of course, Ivan is getting something to score. Mm. If Oh, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. He might even try to go for 2 conduits if he's lucky, but he's not because I'm gonna take this one ASAP. This way, he could actually go for 2 conduits, a level 2 and a level 3, and be better positioned for the last round bonus. That's actually a good move on his part. Netherlands has to produce now to get the national contract, which is 8 points and 8 coins, which is pretty much 9 points, and that's it. That's pretty important. So now I'm again not rushing for production. I can take my time. I'm either taking this contract, these are two moves that I see, or go for this conduit. I really prefer to go for this conduit to keep the plans open for the base, I think. Yeah, that's what I do. It's surprising that a level 2 conduit is still there on the last round of a game with round 5 conduit scoring tile. But it happened, and I was able to capitalize on it. So again, lucky, as you see. Like you have to really play to the board, and I had a lot of chances to score in this game. Well, the good thing when you're employing this kind of strategy is that you are able to zag when everybody else is zigging, which works pretty well. Germany is doing stuff. So I think now he has to beat this one. Yeah, it's going to give him a lot of energy and another production. So that's better for him. Um, Maybe he has to go for it anyway. Yeah, yeah, probably he had to go for it anyway. He had the level 3 anyway. I don't know though. That would have been 7 points more if I left him this spot over here, I think. No, yeah, there's a one last level 3 conduit spot over there. Anyway, getting ahead of myself. This guy is producing again, just because he got a decent contract for it. Alrighty. I'm taking a contract, if I remember correctly. Again, I'm not rushing towards any action spots. If I can get a 2 production spot, that's better. But like I could even take one of these, and that would be alrighty. I'm banking on getting some energy from drops here, but as we see, I come just short of it because somebody is gonna place a dam somewhere that's gonna stop me, if I remember correctly. 5 on the wheel. That's a powerhouse. That's another Bazin towards the end of game scoring. So he's up to 7. Netherlands takes another contract. It's okay. We're gonna produce here. I don't know even know which contract did he take. That one sucks. I'm I'm not really sure I would have gotten this kind of contract instead of just producing right off the bat, but he doesn't need production much, and probably he doesn't have any other way of scoring. Like, yeah, he cannot get this work, and he cannot build private buildings, really. So yeah, maybe that was the only way he had to score decently. Now I'm finally producing, I'm fulfilling this one, I'm placing the 3 drops over here to possibly gain another 3 energy shifts from them falling down from this spot over here. And of course 3 more points by the virtue of being in my dam at the end of the game. But again, I believe somebody is placing a dam over there, which did sucks for me, kinda. It took away like 4 points. Okay, so it's likely at this point that I will get the last 2 production spot, because if Netherlands wants to fulfill this contract, they need to go for the expensive slot, which means that I will be able to build a base over here, most probably, and win the end of round scoring, which is again pretty strong. Yeah, Netherlands has to go for that space. Again, I'm questioning a bit his line in this last round, but I didn't follow his game closely enough in the last few rounds. Yeah, he's gonna also get the +6 points from being in the first position. Nobody can contest it, I don't think. Maybe France, but maybe France has other ways to score, like placing down the last conduit. Sounds better, so there's that. He did place 2 more drops there. It's still not enough for me to reach 30, which is a bit unfortunate. I'm gonna produce here. I have no contract, but this is basically going to give me 4 points, and I have no other ways to score right now. So that's all good. He beats a structure, I don't know what. Another private building just to score a few points out of them. He's building the last conduit as expected, so maybe the Netherlands move was good. And now he's gonna go for a base over there, I think. No? I believe somebody was building something over there. He's just getting one more base in, which totally makes sense. Why am I not able to get the last few points? Let's see. Maybe I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 energy shifts. Oh, yeah, of course. Because these drops are gonna fall down here. The extra drop, not gonna fall down over here and going through my 2 powerhouses. Yeah, simply miscounted. I thought they were going this way for some reason. Still, that was a pretty good game. I hope I showed you guys my thought process throughout all the game. I know it ran a bit long, but maybe you can ask me questions about specific moments in the game and why I chose a line instead of the other one. 160 point is a lot of points, so again, you can get there when you're kind of lucky, but it is what it is. All right, guys, I think that's all for today and probably for a bit. I'm gonna go for a holiday. Uh, Hopefully, when I'll be back and my little lady will go to the kindy, I will be able to record a bit more videos. I also have a game in the cooking with Alex that I would like to show you at some point. We'll see when that becomes feasible. See you again next time, and bye bye. Mario's out.